Well, hey, it's good to see you again. My name is Jade Ben, and welcome to a brand new series on my channel. The working title of which is going to be Bootleg Breakdown. We're going to be showing off a bunch of bootleg releases that are in my massive vinyl, CD, and cassette tape collection. We're going to be starting by what's playing in the background right over there today, and then it's going to be the most recent album from Cambria. This is the Parasitic Chambers. This is a group out of San Diego, California, and this was easily one of my favorite releases of 2023. Tracks such as Smothering Psalms, Cremated Dominion, The Ancient Presence, and The Unworshipped 2 being a couple favorites. These guys are hard at work on their third studio-length album, as well as their fourth studio-length album. These dudes move very fast, and they just signed to Everlasting Speed Records, so if you have not heard of these guys, go ahead and check them out. They are definitely worth your time. I have the vinyl of this, I just couldn't find it, so take this. Okay, so we're going to be starting with a couple of unofficial pressings of some studio albums. As a matter of fact, I have 4 in this episode. So we are going to be starting off with actually a double set of albums, and that is the series of The Afterman by Coheed and Cambria, Ascension and Descension. These came out in 2012 and 13 respectively, if I'm not mistaken. 2012 and 2013 respectively. These were originally released via Roadrunner and Coheed's label, which I believe is Everything Evil Records. They were released as a joint venture in 2012 and 2013 respectively, and they have never been repressed since. I ended up finding both of these guys at Piranha Records in Austin, Texas, actually more specifically Round Rock, Texas. And honestly, it's kind of a shame that these albums are very hard to find, because matter of fact, I think this is probably the most underrated albums in Coheed's discography. I understand it's not as good as the original stuff, and I know a bunch of people complain about that. I don't really like it as much as the Vaxa series, but I still feel like it deserves a shout to a degree. So these come on these super duper heavy gloss covers. I will say the covers on them are pretty blurry, so you can tell that they pulled these from the internet and didn't think to get a high resolution version. The back covers of these are just a section of the album cover zoomed in, and I believe they just flipped to the colors on those specifically. But both of these were released, these bootlegs were dropped sometime in 2022. Label is unspecified, but I will show you at least just as you can see by the inner liner, pretty blurry and not exactly complete. But they both come on this lovely white vinyl. What you're going to notice probably with this series is a lot of labels that just don't press things, and they end up getting bootleg presses. These were studio albums, and but there's a bunch more to cover there. The next one we are going to cover is a very particular band's debut that never actually existed on vinyl. It only existed on CD officially. There was only one pressing of it. That was 1,000 copies, though that number kind of varies back and forth, but it goes for a pretty penny and a half. Slipknot, Made, Feed, Kill, Repeat. This is the band's only album. Many people consider this a demo. I actually almost consider this a demo. But this is the only release with Stephanie on it. This features some early works, such as the title track Slipknot, which ended up becoming the song Sick in the future. We've got an early version of Gently on here. You got Tattered Torn, Only One. And then a couple of tracks that are exclusive to these, but had riffs featured in other releases, such as Do Nothing, Bitch Slap, Confessions, Some Feel, and Killers Are Quiet. This particular pressing itself I got from a record store online in Greece, if I'm not mistaken. This wasn't pressed by any particular label. I believe this was pressed in 2020. I will say the cover on this is actually really nice, as you can see. It doesn't have any real blurring effects, but I figured if I'm going to own this, if I'm going to finish my Slipknot collection, I might as well go for a boot. my particular variant is this really, really cool transparent green. I would almost say a very dark Coke bottle green. No limitation was specified, though I do know there's a bunch of other colors from the 2020 pressing, as well as a 2011 pressing. I presume those are the same label, but this only fetched me about $30 and took a couple weeks to get here. I did think I was going to end up getting it, but the guy shipped it to me, and here it is. I checked the quality on it. It's actually really not that bad, though I would like a CD copy of this guy sometime in the future. But in the meantime, this will just have to hold me over. We're going to cover one more studio release, and we're going to talk about a live bootleg. So the next studio release that we're going to be talking about is a group known as Anal Cunt with I Like It When You Die. This was pressed on Glitter Records, and the reason that name probably doesn't sound very familiar is that this is about the only release on this label's catalog, GG001. So, only release of this, and I can tell you there were not very many copies of this. Particularly this variant here. I purchased this through Eastern Front Records, aka Nuclear War Now Records in Lakeway, Texas. I actually probably could have gone and picked this up myself, but they had purchased a bunch of copies of this, including this variant, and very happy to grab it. But there's a lot of really good songs on here. This has 52 tracks and covers a very short length of time. I particularly like the tracks like Kyle from Incantation Has a Mustache, which they actually played with Kyle of Incantation once. That was super cool. We've also got You're a Cop, We Just Disagree, You Live in Alston, and a bunch of other really good tracks on here. I will say this release isn't for everybody because it is a very dark humor focused record, so I will just say that if you get easily offended or you don't like dark humor or stuff like that, don't listen to the album. But my particular variant is a very rare one. It comes on this pink, particularly pink and black marbled variant. And I'm not sure if you could tell, but the inner labels are hand-drawn. Mine says, I saw Phil Anselmo at a gay pride, which is pretty funny, but each one of these had a different message on them. The limitation kind of fluctuates from what I've seen online. I've seen some sources say that the pink copy was 11, limited to 11 copies, and then I've seen a couple places, such as Nuclear, we're now saying this was 14 copies. I have no idea. I don't know how to get in contact with the label to ask them, so let's just say there's under 15 copies. So that's a pretty rare release right there. It was such a cool find. I got it for about $20, and that's because of a discount that I got. But we'll talk about that in a future Wax Showcase video. Finally, we are going to be talking about a particular live bootleg that is actually tied to not just me, but also my hometown. That is Midnight. This would be You Can't Stop Boots. This was recorded live at the Dirty Dog Bar on 6th Street in Austin, Texas on August 30th, 2014. Way before my time collecting, way before my time in metal music, but I do find this extremely awesome that this was recorded at a venue that I actually know where it is. The venue is no longer open, but I mean I could go there and this is where this took place. This features quite a few tracks off of the No Mercy for Mayhem as well as the Satanic Royalty era. Got Rip This Hell, Lust, Filth, and Sleaze, Necromania, Endless Slut, Unholy and Rotten, and a bunch of really good tracks on here. This particular vinyl variant, I'm not going to take it out of its jacket here because it's really hard to get out of, but a gray with black splatter variant. I have no idea why they put it on such a heavy inner sleeve, but you know what? I was going to say for a bootleg, I feel like that's quality right there. So the audio is, I believe, just a fan recording of somebody standing towards the sound booth. It was uploaded to YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. I might actually link that in the description if you guys want to go listen to it. Or you can find copies of it online. I believe it still sells on Discogs relatively easily. But that's going to wrap it up for this particular episode of Bootleg Breakdown. I'm going to do a couple more of these in the future, depending on how many more bootlegs I can find. I've got a few more in my collection that I'm going to talk about, but at least right now. But we'll come back to this series in a few months. And if you like it, or if you think there's some bootlegs I should check out, leave some comments down below and I'll go ahead and see if I can find them. You guys are awesome. Have a good rest of your day. Enjoy some good metal. Stay safe. I'll see you next time.